Thank you for joining us on a new episode of the GC360 podcast, filmed right here in the Garden City, New York Media Studios. I'm your host, Erica. You can now stream our GC360 podcast on all major listening platforms. And this episode is sponsored by Alliance Services, helping older adults continue to live well and independent. On today's episode, we are exploring ways to rebuild Long Island's small businesses in 2021. While large corporations were equipped to handle this pandemic, smaller businesses were hit hard and heavily relied on help from the government and their loyal customers. Now that the individuals are getting vaccinated and communities are opening back up, what are some ways that small businesses can rebuild in 2021? Joining me today in the studio to discuss these opportunities is President of the Mineola Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Joel Harris, and President of the Rockville Center Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Brian Croutier. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on the GC360 podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Now, I really need this to be broken down for me. We'll start with you, Joel. What is the role of the Chamber of Commerce in the Mineola community? What exactly do you guys do?
I like to tell people to consider your Chamber of Commerce an extension of your business. We have avenues, we have resources that are just not available to everybody, and can hopefully put you in touch with people that you need. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you come to a meeting and you get your business approval, generally the mayor and the village board will welcome you and immediately tell you to reach out to the chamber. So we can help you. We arrange for the initial ribbon cutting. Mm-hmm. We then put those pictures up on Facebook, on our website. We will send out the press releases if you want them. We will do whatever you need us to do. And of course, while you're in business, we expect you to call us. We will come, if you want to have a meeting there, if you want to plan something and invite the chamber, again, we can help advertise that for you within our own villages. And not everybody that is part of the Chamber of Commerce lives in our village, so the reach goes out much further than that. So we just want people to, I'm repeating myself to say, consider us part of your business. Consider our help and what we could do for you to help drive business to you.
Okay, so in Mineola, you can be part of the Chamber of Commerce and not live in the village.
That's correct.
Okay.
We welcome members from all over. A lot of people come and help us. They do businesses in town, or they work, or they just know of us and want to be part of us.
Okay, wow. And Brian, do you have anything to add to that? What's it like if I'm a small business or any business and I'm coming to Rockville Center? How does the Chamber of Commerce help me?
So chamber, start to finish, you can go online onto the website, sign up, right? Mm-hmm. We've made it very easy. We've revamped the website. And our role basically is to then introduce you to the community, not just the other businesses, but also the residents. And so we do that through social media. We do that through the initial ribbon cutting, where the mayor comes to the ribbon cuttings, which we're starting again, right? We're going to start doing in-person ribbon cuttings. And we're excited about that. And you invite your family and friends to the ribbon cutting, and we then put that in the Herald, put it on social media, introduce the business. Other things that we do, we have the playing on the porch and the snowman hunt and all those types of things. We work with the businesses to try to promote all those different events to drive business to them.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think. There was something that Joel said, but I lost my train of thought on it. We're always trying to promote the businesses, right? Mm-hmm. So that's our job, is to at general meetings. So the mayor will come to a general meeting. Mm-hmm. The deputy mayor will come to a general meeting. They'll talk about what's going on, and all those types of things. We've had the fire chief come to the general meetings, talk about fire safety in their businesses, and the buildings, people, we've had them come to the meetings. So we try to give them as much information about what's going on in the village, how to get stuff done, to your point. Because there's questions. The other thing we did is we linked the village website to the chambers, mm-hmm. so that people can easily find out, like, if they need a building permit, or, and like you said, if you have a question about something, call me, call someone in the chamber, and we can try to help you find the answer, because especially during the pandemic, I got a lot of phone calls. I'm sure you did too, right? Like, I want to put an awning up, but they told me I can't put it up, or I want to put a fence around the back, and do extra seating. How do I do that? Right? So I'm sure you went through that, right?
We have a lot of that. A lot of people don't know who to reach out to, especially a new business.
Yeah.
So when we have our dinner meetings the same way, we have village officials there. So it may not be limited to the mayor or anybody else. We have our officials from every service in Mineola try to attend. Some are from our volunteer ambulance, from our fire department. Sometimes our clerk comes to that, our village clerk. And the idea is if you come to a village meeting, you have somebody to ask directly. And of course, if you don't, that's why both Brian and ourselves make ourselves available to everybody to come to us, because we can't answer all of the questions for you, but we could certainly direct you where you have to go.
Right. So then, Joel, you kind of segued into my other question. During the pandemic, how did your role kind of adjust or change based on, I'm sure the businesses needed new things that they had not needed before?
Well, we started making, obviously, there were a lot more phone calls involved there.
Yeah.
So we were reaching out to a lot of people. We started our restaurant list on our Facebook page so people could see all the restaurants that were open and actually be able to download this list, hang it on their refrigerator. We worked with the village and created the 15 and 30-minute parking in front of restaurants and other businesses. It is really important. There seems to be a lot of focus on the restaurant business.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get the focus too on our small retailers. They also it was a lot harder for them because they were also shut down. So while everybody had to eat, not everybody had to go buy a piece of jewelry.
Exactly.
So those businesses took a very, very big hit.
Yeah. Wow.
That's real. That's true. And I mentioned before we had that meeting. It was a special emergency meeting, and one of the things we were trying to accomplish was, how do those businesses, the barbershops, the salons, because, they basically were by appointment, right?
Yeah.
So, you're a jeweler, you can't have 10 people roaming around. So those were things that you had to try to figure out and stuff you don't even think about until someone asks you the question. And so that's really, part of the role is to help people communicate. You don't know that question until it's asked of you, right? And then you got to go find the answer. And that's part of our role is to, facilitate some of those things.
Right.
So that's actually when you feel good, because you're helping someone when they come to you with a specific question. And like you said, you're not going to have the answer, but you can help them find the answer. It may not be the answer they want, but at least you help them. At least you help them know, like, okay, I got to stop doing that. I got to start doing this.
What position are we in?
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot of questions that you never had before.
There's some doozies in there.
So to what you just said, we had a lot of questions, and not all of them were positive. And obviously, if there's no income coming in, places can't pay rent. Can't pay employees, and that was a big issue too with PPP.
Oh, yes.
And that's not the role of the chamber, but we had a lot of people asking us about it. So to your point, if you're a big business and you have your own services there, it was easy to get the information you needed to get these PPP, the loans, the EIDLs. But if you're just a small store with 1 or 2 employees and you don't do your own record keeping, how do you get that information when you need it? So fortunately, we have a few bankers in our chamber, and those bankers went out and helped some of our local businesses to be able to get those loans.
Oh, that's great, because I'm sure a lot of people needed that.
That's true too, yeah. There's definitely resources within the chamber that people on stuff like that can go and help. And that's the same, our bankers were very good to the businesses. And it's tough because if you're only 1 or 2 or 3 employees, you didn't really qualify for any of those loans because the idea was to keep, the 10, 15, 20 people at work. So those were answers that, things that you had to find. And there's resources within the groups of people. I'm thinking specifically of two bankers an hour that had a lot of good information for people. So there's definitely that.
Yeah.
It made it easier having the resources. And we've used that word a couple of times, Brian. We have the resources available for a lot of the members. So we had to go out and we have to tell this to the members. Some of them called us and some of us did not. They didn't know what to do. And it was up to us, Brian, myself, and all the other chambers to help these businesses identify what they need and where they can go to get those answers.
Yeah. And then one of the other things, I don't know if you guys have this, but we have a thing called Peak Savers now for the summertime, where they're trying to encourage people to not use as much power. And they're actually going to give you, like basically like a rebate. And, so if you turn your AC from 70 to 72 from 2 to 4 in the afternoon, you're actually going to get cash back for doing that. It's an environmental thing as well as a power saving. And so, we talked about that at the last meeting. We're putting that up on the website so people know about it. Hopefully people utilize it because it's going to help people in many ways, right?
Yeah.
It's going to help them save money. It's going to help the environment. It's going to help, lots of different things. So, those are all things that, you bring, when those things come up, you bring them to the community.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now that I understand a lot more about what you guys do and the role, Joel, what would your advice be to small businesses now who are trying to kind of come back from the pandemic? Do you have any kind of advice on how to build their business back up?
I will tell you what I've been telling all of the folks while this has been going on. You need to be able to pivot and pivot quickly. And we have found, I think I'm speaking for both of us when I say we have found those businesses that had that drive and they said, I'm not going to go anywhere, and whatever I need to do, I am going to do. A lot of those businesses were very successful. Unfortunately, if people weren't coming out and couldn't go into a dress store or a small shop, there's very little they can do. But we found the creativity to be amazing. The advertising that they did, the delivery services that they allowed, the pickups and deliveries for certain places that hadn't even been spoken about yet. But a lot of people had that kind of drive. It's really incumbent upon us to help those folks and keep them motivated and make sure that they don't sit there and say, I don't know what to do next. Well, where are you? Where do you want to be? And what do you need to get there? And we have the resources through our chambers. And if they're not in our chambers, we have them in other chambers. There's also the Nassau Council of Chambers of Commerce. That's the umbrella organization to all the chambers in Nassau County. So that's a tremendous resources. So we know the people there and we can work with these small businesses. They just have to identify to us what will help them. What do you ultimately want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, do you have any advice that you would add to that?
I think the word pivot was a very good word, right?
Yeah.
So businesses have to learn how to pivot around a lot of different things. And, that's really an ongoing thing.
True.
And the resiliency that a lot of these business owners showed and the strength and the courage to actually keep going, right? The one thing that we can do as chamber presidents and has the chamber itself is advocate for those businesses.
Right.
So if there's something that we can go to, the powers that be and say, hey, this is what they're trying to accomplish. Can we help them? Can we get behind them? So yeah, the businesses have to pivot. They have to understand that may not be business as usual.
Right.
There's
Definitely
one
not.
business in town. She did an amazing job of pivoting her business so that she was able to actually add services on.
Wow.
That now has become like almost a second and third part of her business.
What's the business?
So it's Vines and Branches. So hopefully, Lisa, you don't mind me mentioning you. It's located on North Park Avenue. But Lisa did an amazing job of really going out and coordinating with other businesses and opening up another avenue that helped her stay in business, but also helped other businesses. She went to farmers market. I'm not sure if I'm going to explain it 100%, so I don't want to go into too much detail. But she's a perfect example of someone who, the resiliency, the courage to do it, she did a great job.
Yeah, I liked what you mentioned, Joel, about the creativity that you saw. I saw it too. It was like kind of like brought out something in some people. So it was interesting to see. I saw a lot of businesses close, sadly, especially restaurants around where I live in Brooklyn. But I saw a few open during the pandemic, which I didn't understand how they did that. So did you see any businesses actually open during the pandemic?
We had a business that moved from one village to us.
Okay.
They wanted to be more centrally located. And the day they opened their doors was the day that they had to close their doors.
Oh no!
But they were long known, and as soon as they were able to do the delivery service and the pickups, that changed. we did have, the craft brewery came in a little bit later, but outside of that, I haven't seen many people. A lot of our businesses, we learn about them after they open. The landlord they can apply for a permit, they can apply to open up, and if no permits are needed, we don't know that they open. We try to tell everybody, we walk the streets occasionally to just to say hello. As I'm around town, we always go into the businesses and just say, hi, is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah.
I have masks that we've been giving out, so as I go to businesses, if they need masks or hand sanitizer, I'm able to give that to them now still. So if you need masks or hand sanitizer, let me
to
know.
Joel. What about in
Rockville Center? So it's funny you mentioned the mask, and Anthony Desposito actually gave the village a bunch of, and I think Nassau County, a bunch of kits for PPE, which was hand sanitizers, gloves, masks, some other things that were a thermometer.
Nice.
And the mayor's office, we coordinated that with especially the restaurants, right?
Yes.
So the restaurants really appreciated it because the kit was valuable. It had a lot of good stuff in it.
Definitely.
So, and the one thing about the restaurants is, a lot of them, they had to figure out ways to get business done without people actually coming into their restaurants. And so it was outdoor, tents. It was delivery services. It was takeout. And like to your point, someone wanted us to close the streets for something because they felt that would encourage business. And one of the business owners that I talked to owned a bar restaurant. And he said to me, he says, I don't want you closing the streets. He goes, I'm doing so much takeout business now. He goes, they literally pull up right in front of my store. They come in and they go out.
Take it, yeah.
And if you close the streets, I'm going to lose all that business on a Friday night.
He's relying on that.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
So there's always two sides to the story.
Totally.
And that's part of our job is to try to
please everybody.
All that stuff. No, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Another thing that I'm telling businesses now is I started to use the words, you need to sell your safety. What are you doing for people to make them feel comfortable to walk into your establishment?
Yeah.
And I have said this to many, many people. I walked into a restaurant the other day and they said that we're going to rely on our customers if they want to wear a mask or not wear a mask. That was their take on it. I went to another business. As soon as I walked in, there was a round table in front of me that had masks, hand sanitizers, and a few other things that I was not able to identify.
Yeah.
That was selling safety to me. If you want to walk into a restaurant and you're not feeling comfortable, you could grab a mask. You can wipe your hands down. They really need to make their customers feel comfortable to walk back into the stores, especially now.
Yes.
Some people are very, very hesitant to come out.
Still,
and
yes,
we want
it's true.
people to feel comfortable, stay safe. That's all you have to do.
It's good advice.
Yeah, and that's important. It is. And listen, everyone's in a different situation, right? So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It could be you have an elder parent and you're scared about that. It could be you have an infant. It could be lots of different things.
Yeah.
Someone has asthma. Someone has whatever condition. So you got to be respectful of that. And I think all of the businesses really have done a great job of, I know in our village, done a great job of making sure that people are taking it seriously and doing the right thing. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so vibrant and they were able to survive. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, great. So now that the weather's starting to warm up and summer is coming, is there anything that you guys have planned? We'll start with you, Brian. Do you guys have anything planned as far as events or any outdoor kind of things going on?
Yeah, so, we're working on things, waiting for the official word to come in of what we can and can't do. But we started up our general meetings again in person, so that's a good thing. That's the first step in getting stuff going.
Absolutely.
And then we have Playing on the Porch and Eat Shop Rock, which is our local street fair. So we're planning, those are both, one is Playing on the Porch is in September, and Eat Shop Rock is the first week of October.
Okay.
And we're going to plan like those are going to happen. And so hopefully the guidance tells us what we can and can't do, and we're going to make it like that's going to happen, and that's what we're working on.
Have an optimistic attitude about it. Yes. What's Playing on the Porch?
So Playing on the Porch is an event. This would be the second year. It's local bands playing all over town on different porches. So last year, 2 years ago, we had people playing the horns, other full bands on stage. Others were a guitar and a ukulele, and we made a map, and people were able to ride their bikes and go all over town and see all these different bands playing.
Wow.
And musicians performing. And we did it from like 3 to 6 or 3 to 7. So it was like you could go all over. It was really cool.
That's really fun.
Yeah, people loved it.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys get to do it again in September.
We're doing it. It's going to be cool.
Good.
Yeah.
And Joel, what about with you guys? Do you guys have any events planned coming up?
There are not a lot of events. Obviously, we're waiting for a lot of guidance right now. We are planning our street fair, which comes up in October.
Great.
And we have resumed our in-person meetings. And shortly after I leave today, I'm going to be talking about our, what do we call that? Going traveling around on bicycles?
Playing on the porch.
Playing on the porch. I love that. A lot of places did like the photographers went out and did the porch photos during the pandemic.
Yes.
So now we do playing on the porch. I love that idea.
So what I actually do envision, by the way, is one of the things I said was if we could do it on the same day and then get all the other chambers, get all of Long Island doing a playing on the porch day, that would be really cool. And
Wow.
then let's say we did it and we got everyone going. At like 6 o'clock, everyone plays like "We Are the World," right, or something.
Oh, like the
something
same
that.
thing?
Like,
Yeah.
the same thing. But that's like a dream, a vision somewhere down the road. But
I think that's a great idea.
I think we're going to have some discussions
Yes.
this afternoon about arranging something like that.
And I do think we
That'd
picked
be
a
great.
really good date because we picked the first Saturday after Labor Day, which is like everyone coming back to normal life.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Back from the mountains, the beaches, the trips, school starting
They'll be
that
back.
next week.
Yeah.
And the weather's always nice. And,
Right.
The day itself was phenomenal. Like if we could set that
That
up,
sounds great.
I might be recruiting you on this one.
I'm in.
We just sparked an idea on the podcast. Yeah.
You know,
You're going to be the announcer.
yeah, by the way.
Sign me up. I'm in.
This is what the chambers are all about, if I could add that. I mean,
Yeah.
they have to work together. Individually people can work together. There's so much more can be accomplished. And it's really,
Totally.
really important for people to get together and share ideas so we can do exactly that.
Yeah, I agree. So, Joel, just to piggyback on that, is there anything else that you want to add about the Mineola community or anything about that the chamber does?
Well, we are, again, I told you before, not just a business organization, but we try to work in conjunction with multiple charities, and we do that. And you can see that information on our website. We post it on social media, on our Facebook page, and of course, everything is mineolachamber.com or Mineola Chamber on Facebook. We try to be a part, and we try to work with our local communities so they know that the chamber is behind them as well. Because when they enlist us, we can then enlist our businesses, and through that inclusivity, we can just grow these events.
Yeah, I love that. And what about you, Brian? Anything else you want to add about the community and the Chamber of Commerce?
I would echo that sentiment about the charity. We support charities through the chamber, and we would love to promote any charities that we can in town. And we'll put that on our calendar at the Rockville Center Chamber of Commerce.com. We also have scholarships that we give to local high school students.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Malloy College as well. So those are the types of things that people may not know that the chamber does, and so and hopefully our members, I guess it's my job to remind them that we do good things like that, and then that's why they should avail themselves of all the resources we have at the chamber.
Yeah. Wow. So sounds like both of you guys are really busy with your Chamber of Commerce in both of the communities, and it's great. And I appreciate you telling me and all of our listeners about everything that you all do. So one more time for anyone listening, if our audience wants to get a hold of you guys or find out more about your particular Chamber of Commerce in your community, Joel, how can they find out more information?
Okay, so our website is mineolachamber.com. Very easy. On the mineolachamber.com page, you'll have the opportunity. The phone number is listed, and we have an info at mineolachamber.com that goes to multiple people.
Okay.
So there's always somebody looking at this. Our phone number goes to a live person. So there are
Not a recording.
Not a recording. So when you call the chamber on Sunday afternoon, somebody will pick up the phone.
Oh, great. That's good to know. And what about you, Brian? How can people get a hold of you guys and find out more info?
So easiest way is Rockville Center Chamber of Commerce.com. All the information's there, just like you. The website is very user-friendly. Member directories in there, how to contact us, how to sign up online if you want to join the chamber, what we do, when we do it, calendar of events. And then also we have Facebook page, we have a Twitter on the Instagram page, and also a YouTube channel. So
Great.
A lot of social media stuff, and that's those are the best ways to get in contact with us.
Good. So both easy to get a hold of. I love
Yes.
it. Well, again, thank you, Brian and Joel, for joining me on the podcast. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of GC360. You can rewatch this episode or any of our past episodes at gc360podcast.com. I'll see you next time.